Hello everybody, Teldo here, and today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming condition changes. Roy made a blog post on the official Guild Wars 2 website. I'm going to put the link in the description down below, talking about some of the new changes for conditions coming up, and they're really interesting. We already knew that Poison and Burn are going to stack in intensity soon, so that's already cool, and it's still going to be like that, but also some other things are going to change. And let's actually touch on a few of those things, and I'm gonna explain what I think, how they will affect the meta, how they will affect the game in general, and yeah, let's get started. The first thing that they changed, and most of those changes actually affect PvE more than PvP, and I think that most of those changes were made for PvE. But yeah, the max stack on bleeds and also burning and poison with the upcoming patch will be higher than 25. There will be a really high cap on it. That means if you have multiple people dealing condition damage, it's not going to just cap out super quickly. Like, even one guy can get 25 stacks of bleed on a target pretty, like, not easily, but there are some builds that can do it. And you know, he just takes up the full condition damage on that one target, and nobody else can do bleed damage anymore to him. And with burn, it's even worse, you know, like right now, if you apply really long burn, nobody else can deal damage anymore. So yeah, that's cool. It's supposed to be really high. There's no actual, like, didn't tell us an actual number, but it's supposed to be high enough that you can still deal enough damage to a raid boss. Like, people, like a really big group of players can still all deal condition damage to that raid boss. So that's cool. With the intensity stacking on poison and burn. That's a pretty cool change, and that's gonna be really, really big in PvP. Like right now, burn stacks in duration, and you know, like if I do this, and you know, I could drop this as well. Like I can easily stack really high poison burn on a target, and you know, like it deals 600 damage every second, and that's good, but you know, like in those 30 seconds, or like, okay, 30 seconds might be unrealistic, but like maybe 10 to 20 seconds, in that time, people have so much time to just remove that condition, and there are so many condi removals, and it's so easy, you know, and then like most of your abilities were just doing nothing. But imagine if that would actually just stack and like intensity and deal burst damage, and that's what it's gonna do. Same with poison. They will reduce the damage of burn. I don't know if they will do it for poison. I hope not, because poison doesn't deal that much damage anyway. But for burn, they will reduce the damage, and it's going to be fine. It's probably going to be a big buff, and it's going to make things like pistol offhand viable again, because you have so much burn already. You don't really need the extra burn from the pistol, you know. You rather have the survivability of a shield. So yeah, that's going to be amazing. Also, poison, it's going to be more or less a trade-off. If I apply poison to this guy with my poison volley, it's like 12 seconds of poison, right? It's really good to just reduce the healing by 33% for that entire time. So with the future patch, it's actually going to change that you will have only like 2.5 seconds of poison, but you will also deal that 1.6, 1.7k damage immediately. So you will have less healing reduction uptime on targets, but you will have more burst damage with poison as well. And I like that change, because here again is the problem that people can remove the poison anyway most of the time, and it's best to just get like something out of the condition early on, like just a little quicker, and I think that's awesome. Also, I think it's gonna be interesting because it might bring some interesting utilities back into the meta, you know? Like, I could, maybe people would run Elixir Gun just for the poison a little bit more, or like maybe Pistol Shield actually. I mean, people don't run that right now, but like, you know, just stuff like that. Maybe people will run that a little bit more just for more poison uptime, and Necro could use that poison cloud again and stuff like that, and I think that's awesome. And I'm really looking forward to how that will affect everything. Also, confusion is going to change with the upcoming patch. Right now, if you put confusion on a target, let me see, let's put it on this guy, it doesn't do anything. I mean, I hit the burn on him, but you can see there's no confusion damage ticking at all. And confusion only deals damage if a target uses an ability. Obviously, this is a dummy and he doesn't do anything, but in PvE especially, like big bosses attack super slowly, for example, and it's very inconsistent. Sometimes it does a lot, sometimes it doesn't. In PvP, you could sometimes blow a player up by him just using a really fast abilities over and over again, you know. And with the upcoming patch, this is actually going to change. It's going to be a portion of the damage is going to be damage over time, and a portion of the damage is just going to be still damage when people use their abilities. And I think it's not going to affect PvP all too much. It's going to be amazing in PvE once again. In PvP, I think Confusion is still going to be something that you really have to watch out for. If you get like 5 stacks or so, just don't spam abilities. But it's also like more consistent, like it's still gonna do something if somebody, like people might not blow up as fast if they do cast stuff, but if they don't cast stuff, at least they take a little bit of extra damage, and that's great because, man, like good players can avoid it pretty easily, you know, like me as an engineer player, if I get confusion on me, I just use like toolkit block or something, or I dodge around, bam, bam, and you know, normally I run elixir R, and then I just use that, and that's like one confusion stack of damage that I take, and I can just keep dodging around. Pretty easy to just minimize the damage on that most of the time, and it's gonna help condition builds for sure that confusion deals consistent damage. Also a thing, scaling is going to change. Roy said that the condition damage is too high if you just run a berserker build, or like any build without a lot of condition damage, and I think that's true. Like a warrior or something, if he hits you with pin down, that's 6 stacks of bleed, and it takes for a good bit. Or like the burns that they apply to you, like it's gonna deal pretty good damage, a pretty good amount of damage, and with the new formulas that are still being adjusted, by the way, but the idea is to start doing more damage if you reach 700 condi damage. So yeah, my build is gonna deal more damage with 1.1k also, which is great, you know, and people who have less are gonna deal less damage, and I think that's good. I like it, honestly. That might just all those changes, and actually, yeah, let me talk about the last change real quick before I wrap it up. Vulnerability. Oh, wait, this guy's already dead. Here, my bomb supply vulnerability, and there's a bunch of other things, like condition builds have vulnerability as well that they can apply, but it doesn't do anything for them because it only increases the direct damage. And it's like kinda a trash condition. Like if I hit this guy with burn and vulnerability, people might remove vulnerability instead of the burn, which is great. But it doesn't really feel satisfying at all if you have vulnerability on a target, and it's basically just a trash buff, you know. So what the upcoming changes are going to do, they're actually going to affect vulnerability that it deals extra condition damage as well. Like 25 stacks of it will be 25% extra condition damage, and direct damage just 25% extra damage. And I think that's amazing. Looking forward to that change. Also, like, big thing for condition builds again. I think condition builds with that will have a way to get back into the meta. Right now they're pushed out of the meta because of builds like Shoutbow, and like even like something like an Elementalist has a lot of condi removal, and people in general, like, you can just punish conditions too easily. And just stacking conditions doesn't work right now. With a patch it might work. It's going to be interesting. Maybe we will see some crazy condition teams with an epidemic necro or something and just trying to blow everything up. We will see. If you run that now, you might just overstack all your conditions over and over again, and it will deal a lot of damage, but like one condi clear and bam, it's all gone. And like, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Those were the condition changes overall, but there's also another thing that got announced. Movement abilities are going to actually change. Right now, I'm going to demonstrate that with rocket boots. If you use rocket boots or other leap or mobility skills like the charge on the greatsword from warrior or the whirlwind attack and stuff like that, it's going to be affected by swiftness. It's also going to be affected by cripple and chill. Like, it's going to be either faster or slower. And with the patch, that's not going to be the case anymore. So you won't be able to do stuff like this anymore. You can't jump like this with super speed, which is sad. But I mean, this is just for fun, you know. But in PvP, it's definitely going to affect things. Maybe not with super speed, but with swiftness, it will. I'm gonna demonstrate that here. I'm gonna sit on this little torch over there, and I'm gonna jump without swiftness first, and I'm gonna assume that mobility skills will not get buffed or anything, so I will like jump this far. I'm kinda landing a little bit further than this little spot of grass, you know? And if I do this with swiftness, you will see the difference, and it's pretty significant. And I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about those changes. I don't think I like them too much, because it's gonna make the game feel a lot slower, you know, like that's a pretty big extra distance. And yeah, it's gonna make the game feel a lot slower, I think. And yeah, of course, if you got slowed when you used an ability like that, it slowed you down, but it never really felt that punishing to me. Like it always, most of the time, it still felt like that ability was still worth using, especially if you use like a charge on the warrior. You know, it still covered a pretty good distance, even if you did get slowed. But it just doesn't feel as satisfying anymore if you do get away with it with like swiftness on you. And also, it's like gonna be straight up be a nerf to rocket boots, because rocket boots are supposed to remove cripple and chill. So the slow state of that mobility skill should never really happen anyway. And it's just gonna be slower in general right now, because like swiftness doesn't work with it anymore with the upcoming patch, and I don't think I'm too happy about it. Rocket boots aren't being used anyway right now, really, and I understand why they change it, but I'm not sure if I agree with it, and especially I just hope that they compensate rocket boots at least with something, because they're not too good anyway right now. And I love rocket boots. I would love to just use them a little bit more. But yeah, I would actually like to hear what you guys think about all of that. The mobility changes, all the condition stuff. I think it's going to be great for engineers. I think it will make my build more viable again. Maybe I will have more reliable damage. Maybe I will have some burst damage that I can actually offer in teamfights. Right now my build is useless in teamfights, but with the patch it might not be anymore. Also looking forward to the Engi changes. As soon as I like get more information on that, I'm definitely gonna cover that as well. And yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So see you then. Bye bye.